Hello, everybody. Dr. Joe Vitale here. Welcome to another episode of Zero Limits Living. And I'm excited. Every week, I bring you inspiration and information designed to help you break free, designed to help you live this optimal life that I'm calling Zero Limits Living. Now, I often talk about miracles, and I usually end my shows by saying, expect miracles. But what is a miracle? Do you believe in miracles? And how can you create miracles? How can you get clear of the limiting beliefs within you so you can have, do, and be virtually anything you can imagine? Well, to help me achieve that this particular day on this particular episode, I've got one of my own miracles coaches. His name is Jed Pfaff. And Jed, how are you?
Oh, doing great. I'm excited as always to talk with you, brother. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thanks for being here. Jed's one of my miracles coaches, as I've said. I started miracles coaching 15 some years ago. He's been working with families in crisis and with troubled youth for about 28 years, helping people with drug and alcohol abuse. He's also helped people in Utah with their businesses, and he's worked with the state of Utah and the Utah County government. The man has a lot of experience. I know him personally because usually he's interviewing me for the people in my miracles coaching program who would send in questions, and then he would ask me and I would go ahead and answer. Well, I said, Jed, I need your help. I want you to come on my show and help all of my viewers achieve what I'm calling Zero Limits Living. So that's what we're here to do. Are you ready to help?
Oh, I'm excited. I can't wait to see where this takes us, as always.
Well, I'm going with inspiration here. I do have a couple questions that we both agreed on that I may or may not get to. But I think what we want to start with, since I mentioned miracles coaching, what is a miracles coach? What is your definition of a miracles coach?
Well, to me, a miracles coach is a person that walks someone through guided transformation, whether it's things that they think that they might be able to do, or they have so many limiting beliefs, there's no way, no how they can do it. But the goal is to push yourself and extend yourself through entelechy and out of those boundaries so that you experience micro miracles, which can then multiply and ramp up so you can have big miracles, as you yourself have many, many books about. So in a nutshell, that's the journey that we're on, right? Trying to get many miracles into big ones.
I love that. I love that you used the phrase micro miracles. I don't think you've used that with me before, or it went by and I didn't notice it. But
I just shot off the hip.
Well, cool. Very good. Because a micro miracle can lead to the bigger miracles. It's like building muscle. You start with the little believable wins, and then you can start thinking bigger, like, oh, if I can do that, let me go for something even bigger. So how long have you been a miracles coach?
I've been a miracles coach officially for 5 years.
Wow.
And I still remember my first experiences with you like it was just yesterday, and I've been constantly incorporating those into my coaching for the last 5 years. So
well,
they're embedded.
I wasn't going to ask this, but you brought it up. What's one of the memories that you have of a first experience?
Well, I think I probably said this on like about 30 of our calls. But
well, my viewers won't know it. So
yeah. Your pencil story is the one that I always go to when people are wondering or doubting if they can change, if they can even do more, be more, experience more. And you can go more into the pencil story, but I'll tell you, just something as simple, I'm a story guy, right? Every time we talk,
I love your stories. I love your stories. Yes.
And your pencil is a very simple and straight to the point, no pun intended, way of helping people understand that just with a little bit of love and gratitude and things like that inside the interaction sphere of our universe, you can start these micro miracles that we're talking about, you know? And then of course, the other thing that I love that has stuck with me over the years is just your ability to be vulnerable and be human. Because a lot of times people think, well, that's easy for Joe Vitale. Look at him. He can do anything. That's easy for Coach Jed. That's easy for you to do. No, it's not. It's hard. It takes effort, and you got to keep going.
Well, those are great points. I want to reiterate the pencil story because I think for the viewers of this TV show, they've not heard it. It's a story that I've told many times, as you know, and I'm in 2 or 3 different movies telling the story. I'll give a very condensed version of it. When I was struggling, I had left homelessness. I was in poverty, but I was struggling and I was doing all the right things. I'm reading the right books. I'm applying the exercises as best I understood them, but I was frustrated. I was angry. I wasn't getting anywhere. I was hearing about people having magic, miracles, successes, achieving their dreams. And I'm like, nothing's happening. Why not? And I kept hearing about gratitude, and I thought, yeah, I'll be grateful when I have something to be grateful for. I was belligerent. I just couldn't see anything to be grateful for. And I remember hearing the exercise so many times, I thought, I'm just going to try this nonsense. I'm going to try it. And I picked up a pencil. This is a pen, but I picked up a pencil at the time, one of those number 2 yellow pencils, the lead on one end, the rubber on the other. And I picked it up and I said, yeah, I'm grateful for this pencil. And I was not. I'm grateful for this pencil. With this pencil, I can write a grocery list. I can write a suicide note. I can write some sort of ransom note. I can write nasty letters. And it was all belligerent. It was all angry. It was all flippant, and I was not grateful. But I kept writing, and I thought, well, I could write a poem. I could write a love story. I could write a romance. I could write affirmations. I could write the great American novel. I can write a manifesto that awakens the world. And suddenly, and every time I tell this story, my energy changes. My energy goes up. And suddenly I started to feel better. I started to feel happier. I started to feel clearer, all from the pencil. And then I looked and I saw the eraser and I went, oh my God, genius. Somebody put a piece of rubber on the end of the stick so I could erase the suicide note and those nasty messages that I was beginning with. And so within a couple minutes, I transformed. I opened a window in my soul, and I could look out into the world, and I suddenly saw brightness where before it was all darkness. I suddenly saw opportunities, but when before I just saw closure. That was a turning point. That was an opening for me. And you know the story well because you've heard it so many times and repeated it so many times. But I wanted people to get that you can be grateful. You can change. You can experience a miracle right now by picking up anything around you. I happened to pick up a pencil. I was in one movie and I was telling the story to the woman that was in the movie. And at the end of it, she said, "How much for the pencil?" And I said, it's not the pencil. It's anything. It can be my glasses. It can be my pen. It can be my water. It can be my mouse. It can be the mic. As you know, it can be anything. That's the pencil story.
Yeah, so powerful. And the other thing is whenever you're using love and gratitude, I call this the food of the universe, or it's like the money of the universe, right? The cash flow. You get a kickback, a dividend for using I love, I appreciate, right? And a lot of the miracle students are like, well, where do I start? Where do I even begin? So thinking about the power behind your story with the gratitude, but then also putting out love. The universe is always sending and receiving, but it wants to drop these beautiful gifts in your lap. So I say there's 2 things you can always control in life, your attitude and your effort. And so those are 2 aces you have up your sleeve, no matter what life it deals you as far as hands go. And so if you have an attitude of gratitude and a strong effort of love, you can play any hand that comes your way. And people love that, And the other thing as a miracles coach is your Nevilleizing stuff. You can talk more about Nevilleizing, but the Neville Goddard stuff, I actually found your stuff by accident through one of our old files in the computer.
Right.
And I'm like, what's this stuff hiding about, Joe? No one trained me on this. So I got reading it and I'm like, holy moly, like the ability to activate that 4th step in the 5 steps of creation to visualize with power and feeling and emotion, but speak it into existence by Nevilleizing every little minute micro detail. Your subconscious, the universe just says, there you go. It's coming.
You just said a mouthful of things, and a couple of things I have to clarify because I'm not sure the viewers are up to speed with a lot of things. For
Yeah.
example, you just said the 5 steps in the creation process, so I need to go through the 5 steps. The
I'm
five
toast.
steps are in the book, The Attractor Factor. The first step is to know what you don't want. Everybody's good at that. We're always complaining about what we don't want, but we use the first step to get to the second step. The second step is, what do you want? So you change the first step, the complaint, into an intention. The third step is getting clear. And that's where I think Miracles Coaching was born. It was to help people get clear, because it's the missing secret. When you go for something, but you have negative and limiting beliefs within you, you have to remove those. You have to clear those so that you can accelerate the process to attract what you want. The fourth step is what you're calling Nevilleizing. Neville Goddard was one of my favorite teachers. He's gone. He was gone in the 1970s, but he talked about a particular way of attracting a miracle, and was basically by feeling as if you already had the very thing you wanted. And I want to talk about that in a second. And the fifth thing is to let go while taking action. So you're letting go of your psychological attachment and addiction to something. So Jed, I want to give you something that I just discovered a few days ago. This is a technique for everybody watching. It ties in the Nevilleizing. You're going to like it. And I got it from one of our teachers. Bob Proctor, who you know was one of the greatest of the teachers, an author who deeply influenced me. I should do a whole special on him. He just passed away a week or so ago, and it is a huge loss, and my heart still is heavy from this, because he was a guardian angel in flesh form for me. I picked up one of his most recent books. There was 2 that came out just before he passed. And the opening of one of them had this exercise that I just am delighting in, and I want to share it with you, and I want everybody that's watching to participate. Here's how it goes. You wake up in the morning, and at the foot of your bed, there's a box. And you reach down and you open the box, and in the box is everything you've been wanting. The car you've been wanting, the car keys are in the box. The house you've been wanting to buy and move into, the ownership papers, the keys, they're in the box. The person that you've been looking for, your soulmate, whatever it happens to be, name, address, is right in the box. Everything that you've been wanting enlightenment, spirituality, you've been wanting a healing. Everything you want is in the box. And whether the box came from Santa, or it came from the universe, or it came from outer space, you got the box. And the question is, how do you feel? How do you feel opening up the treasure box and everything you've been wanting to attract is already in there? Because, and this ties into what you were saying, Neville taught that when you feel as if you already have the thing you have previously been longing for, you actually program your mind, send an order into the universe, and accelerate the process of truly manifesting those very things. So I've been excited to share this. I made an Instagram video on it the other day, so you might have seen it. What do you think at first blush on hearing this, Jed?
I love it, because really we try to possess things and we think they're out of our reach or they're too far away. And the fact of the matter is, everything is already here. Even our experiences have already happened. One of the things I taught my daughters how to play different sports and stuff. I didn't have any boys, so my girls were going to do anything a boy could do even better, right? That was Papa Jed's thing. So when they were doing softball, I loved coaching them because it wasn't so much the physical stuff as the mental stuff. Especially in baseball, I would get into slumps and strike out, and then all of a sudden I'd hit it over the fence, and then I'd get in another slump and strike out. So it's a real mental game. And this one mom said, my daughter Josie is in a slump. Can you help your daughters get on base every time? And I don't want to bug the coach. The coach was kind of a negative personality. He had his own coaching that he needed, right? And his body language was bad. And so I said, well, yeah, I can help Josie out. Let me see. Take a cut for me, Josie. Swing. So she got up and she swung. And I said, that looked beautiful. That looked perfect. And she was waiting for a criticism. You could see in her face. bend your knees more, lift your elbow up more, keep your eye focused more. She's waiting for that stuff. Instead, I go, man, that was a perfect swing. Let me see it again. It looks so good. I got to see it twice. And she's like, okay. And she hits it as she swings. And I go, you're doing everything perfect. You have nothing to improve on. In fact, you've already hit that ball out in the outfield. Now you just got to go out and physically experience it. That's all I said to her. And she goes, really? That's it? And I go, you've already gotten back to home plate. You're done. Now just go out and physically run around the bases. And so she's getting up to bat and she's a little nervous. I could tell she was nervous. And I yell through the chain link like my own kids when I embarrass them. I'm like, Josie, I'd like to order up a double, please. Give me a double on second base, because she worked at a little burger joint, And so she'd take orders. So she's like, okay, Mr. Pfaff. And she gets up and the coach is saying, wait on the first pitch. He's telling her to not take a swing. She just swings, hits it right over pitcher, right over second, plops it into the grass. She was out of her slump the rest of the season.
Wow.
And that's exactly what I think about with your stuff is you know what you want, you visualize it, you speak it into existence, and then you go experience it. And it really is that simple. There's not rocket science here.
I love it. I love it. So you've been a miracles coach for me for about 5 years, you mentioned. Do you have a favorite story or two? Because I would like the viewers to connect and relate and feel the hope. I would like them to really go, oh, if that happened to that person, it can happen to me. Do you have a favorite story?
I got a go-to story for every student, because this lady was in dire straits, and I saved her emails so I could prove if anyone ever doubted and said, Jed's making this up just to be cool or whatever. This is a real story that happened immediately when I became a miracles coach, because I was still kind of new to the secret and some of this stuff. It all resonated with me, but I didn't understand what was going on inside of me with what I knew. It was just pouring out of me as I was learning to coach this stuff. So this lady, she calls in and she wants to cancel her coaching. And the support team says, Jed, you just barely got on the phones, I know, but will you call this lady and find out what's going on? She wants to stop all services and everything. So I call her up, and her name was Bernie, and she was in Australia. And I said, what's going on, Bernie? And she goes, oh, I'm down to my last $60. And my husband just lost his job. They put him on furlough. And my son, he wrecked our car and totaled it. And they took my husband's work car. So we don't even have a car. We're going to probably lose our house. We love this home. It's our dream home. And she showed me a picture of it later on. This home, it looked like I was looking at a scene from The Man from Snowy River. I don't know where it was, but it was just those beautiful mountains, in the outback. Wow. Mm-hmm. And so I just let her vomit and toxify everything out and get it all out. And and she was like, I don't know, we're going to lose our home, and I don't know what we're going to do. And I go, well, what do you want? I knew you'd start with what you don't want. So now what do you want? She goes, well, I would just like it's my husband's birthday this weekend. I just want him to have a good birthday, and all I have is $60. And I go, okay, so first let's be grateful for the $60. Mm-hmm. And she goes, okay. I go, repeat after me. Thank you, universe. Thank you, life, for this $60. I really appreciate it. And she was like, oh, I do. I really do. I thank you for the $60. And I go, so now do you want to double it to 120? Yeah, I'd love to double it. Do you want to triple it to 180? Yeah, I'd love to triple it. Well, let's just make it easy math for the universe and say, I'd like $200. She goes, okay, so repeat after me. Thank you for the 60. Thank you for the 60. Now I'd like $200, please. Now I'd like $200, please. And I don't know why I said this. It just came out of my mouth. I said, and I would like it by tomorrow. And she goes dead quiet, just like that. And I'm like, what did I do? Why'd I say that? Because my own doubts, I'm fighting off my own doubts, right? Mm-hmm. And so I go, Bernie, you have to say it. It's not enough to just think it and feel it. You got to say it too. So I got her, and I would like it by tomorrow, please. I go louder. I'm here in America. I'm clear across America. I'm in the Rockies. She was screaming it in the phone, and then I go, okay, now you just sit back and wait for the $200 to come and or something better. And she goes, really, that's it? I go, that's it. And then we're gonna follow up. I want you to follow up with me. We'll do another session. And she goes, okay. And she hangs up the phone. I look straight up to heaven. I go, please, God, send her a 20, a 50, anything from, whatever to help her out. Cause I was like, man, she's got to have something. So I really powered up my own faith and prayer with it. And so I'm coaching another student, and here comes an email in from her. And I got a little flutter in my heart. I'm like, oh man, she's got more griping or complaining or some more negativity. And I pushed that out. No, we had a good session. She was crying on a good way, on an ending note. So I ignored it. I had more emails that I had to do, still ignored it. Finally, I get to her at the end of my day, and it says, Jed, you're not going to believe this. I saw your email confirming our session today, and the email right above it was from the high school, and it said, we need you to help us do a school play for this weekend. We'll pay you $200 for this weekend. And then she goes, and they said they'll pay me the next weekend and the next weekend to finish it up. So she manifested 600 nice. After we got off the phone.
Nice.
So I'm like, whoa, this stuff works. It really works.
Right.
So I've only been a miracles coach like maybe 6 months at this point. I'm brand new. Mm-hmm. So anyways, I get more emails funneling in. The first one's like, so our friends from New Zealand's coming over. They bought us plane tickets to go celebrate my husband's birthday in New Zealand for a free trip. They can stay in our house. They're going to stay in our house, and they'll watch our kids. So she manifests as now a free trip for the husband. Then another email. The insurance company came, wrote him an $8,000 check. You can fix your car or do whatever you want with the money. So she manifested $8,000. Wow. Then the husband got early severance, which was almost like $20,000. And then they went, and instead of losing their house, they refinanced it. It was actually worth a lot more. So it was on upscale instead of going down. So they got money out of that house. Plus they had a lower mortgage payment. So it just kept compounding and quantifying these blessings. And it was such a beautiful story, an amazing story, but here's the sad part of it. And I use this as the teaching point. I said, okay, so now let's go further. What do you want to do in your coaching? You need the mentoring. You need to keep having contact with miracles coaches. You need to be using these principles that we teach to keep, magnifying your life the way it's going. And she was still in that deficit mindset. No, I can't spend any of this money. And I the money leaving felt like it would never come back. But that's not how money works. The energy of money is circular.
Right.
It circulates. Money circulates. Currents. And anyways, we did lose contact with her. She manifested over at least $35,000 in 3 weeks. And it was not enough for her to grab onto the concept of how these miracles can play out.
You know what I love about this story, besides the beauty and the simplicity of it, and you also being vulnerable and telling us what you were thinking when you went through it and how you felt with a little flutter when her emails came in, it illustrates the need for ongoing coaching.
Yeah.
And I mean this most sincerely, because one of the reasons I started Miracles Coaching 15 years ago or whenever it was, is that I had seen where coaching dramatically accelerated my levels of success. I had gone through the homelessness and the poverty and doing it all by myself, but it wasn't until I actually had an ally, I had a mentor, I had a coach, that there were immediate breakthroughs and immediate successes coming from them. And I had seen that was so powerful that when I had the opportunity, I established Miracles Coaching and started training people to be Miracles coaches, because I knew I couldn't see everybody that wanted to get clear. But through extension with a company, everybody can go into Miracles Coaching and they can be handled. What I see with this story is the woman still needed coaching. And she pulled back, and she had her own decisions. But those decisions she made were based on limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
They were based on limiting beliefs like I can't afford it. This isn't going to give me more of what I want. As you had pointed out, a lot of people believe there isn't enough. One of my most recent books is called Karmic Marketing. It just came out recently. I think you have a copy. I think I sent copies to all of my Miracles coaches. And in it, I point out that, as you just said, money needs to circulate. And the reason that a lot of people hold on is they have a belief that they will never have any more. And I relate because I thought that way too when I was broke. When you actually start to realize you always get money. Depending on your belief system and your mindset, it'll come in at various amounts, but money always comes. It is the nature of the flow of prosperity that some of it is going to drip in your direction. You will never, ever be where it never comes again. But if you want to expand to allow more, then one of the things to do is stay in Miracles coaching and eliminate the beliefs. That's why this show is called Zero Limits Living. We get to the zero limits so that we can live. So I love your story. Thank you for sharing that one. Do you have another favorite that might be in a different category?
Yeah, so this happened almost immediately after this experience. So I'm starting to teach and preach all of this stuff to not just students here at work, but like everyone in my life, right? And we're driving to get this softball bat for my daughter, and we got this. We went to go get this softball bat, and they ended up giving us like a glove, batting glove, a helmet, like just all this beautiful gear that hardly had any scuffs on it. So my little daughter, Sammy, she's a little manifester. Both my daughters, little manifestors, and they teach me more than I have ever taught them. But she's talking to me on the way back in my truck. I got a F-150, and it was having truck problems, and we kept actually manifesting money to fix this truck up. And we were talking about manifesting and stuff. And we are pulling into this parking lot to get some dinner for the wife to bring home. And there's a little Hispanic family on the corner with a sign that's saying they need help, like money, and stuff like that. So the mom was nursing a baby, and there was two little boys playing, and the dad was standing there with the sign. And normally I'll give like my change and my dollars in the ashtray out, and there was no money, and I used a card for the dinner. And I thought, well, there's a register in the grocery store right there. I'm gonna run in, I'll buy like a couple candy bars, and I'll get the change back, and then I'll have change to give them. So I'm standing in line, it's taking forever, I'm getting impatient, and I buy 2 Reese's peanut butter candy bars for me and my daughter to eat. And then I run the card, and it won't let me give me any change back. And so the lady goes, the only thing I can give you is a 20, and I don't have anything else. I go, you don't have anything else in the drawer but 20s? She goes, no, I'm sorry. And I was just like, at this point, I'm like, whatever, just I'll take the 20. So I'm hustling, and I get out in the truck, and my daughter's waiting, and I drive up to this little family, and the man comes up to the window, and I hand the 20 to Sammy. I go, here, give this to him. And she goes, $20? Like, she's never seen me give that much, I go, yeah, just give it to him, $20. And I go, give the kids the candy bars too. We got enough junk at home. We're okay. We don't need junk food. So she gives him the 20 and the candy, and I kind of waited to see what he'd do with the candy. And he sure enough gave them to his kids, and they were happy. And I drove off, and we're headed home, and I'm explaining to her more about this. It's okay, because this $20 is a lot now, and we're short on cash, but it'll come back to us. It always comes back to us karmically, just like you say. Mm-hmm. So we're driving, and I look, and the gas light's on, and I know there's no more money on my debit card. We've spent everything on this dinner and everything, this $20. And so my truck's one of those things where once it runs out of gas, you don't start it back up again. So you got to get to a gas station. So Sammy goes, well, Dad, I have $20. I'll put gas in. So my little 14-year-old had been hoarding up $20. And my ego is like, no, I'm not taking my kids' money, but yeah, we're going to be hoofing it up the mountain if I don't. And I go, okay, well, I'll make sure that I pay you back. And I was humbled by my daughter. And she goes, it's okay, Dad. We're going to get the money back like threefold, you said, right? And I was like, right. Yeah, that's right. We are. And so we get gas. We're late for dinner, but we get home. She takes the food into the house. For whatever reason, the wife goes to the mailbox, but I went to the mailbox. I open up the mail, and there's a letter from my insurance for $160. And so I gave Sammy 60, and I kept the 100 for me and my wife's rest of whatever we had that week. And Sammy got 3 times her 20 back. And I wanted to show her how important this stuff is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a beautiful and touching story. And that was happening right in the family.
Yeah.
When you work with people as a miracles coach, how do you discover their limiting beliefs? And part of the reason I'm asking is there's people that are watching this and probably wondering, how do I know what my limiting beliefs are? How do I find out what the thing is that's preventing me from prosperity or romance or health or spirituality or fill in the blank, whatever they're looking for? Do you have a tip or tool or something?
Yeah, I have a system to get to the heart of the matter, because 30 minutes isn't long enough for me. As you know, I could talk to you all day long if it let us, right? So I got 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes to get to the heart of the matter with a student. And I want to be really impactful as much as I can. So when I was a corrections officer for the state of Utah, I went to a 3-day training and learned about this concept by doctors Prochaska and DiClemente called the trans-theoretical model of change. And it teaches you how a person changes from a psychological point of view. And so you got 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and you have pre-contemplation, contemplation, then you got planning, then you got action, then you got maintenance. And this is how a person generally changes themselves for the better, right? And I was working with gang members and criminals and drug addicts and things like that. So it was really important. So I took and filled in all the other numbers using some of your stuff. So your dreams, your desires is 1 o'clock, your fantasies. 2 o'clock is goals and action steps. Now you got 3, planning. 4 o'clock is contingency plans. 5 o'clock is roadblocks, limiting beliefs. So I just go through this with them. But for everybody on the planet, what makes a person go from contemplation to pre-contemplation, or pre-contemplation to contemplation, they're like, I don't need help. I don't need a coach. I don't need a therapist. I don't need a mentor. To, yeah, I probably should talk to someone. I should probably see if there's help for that, because there's a gap that's jumped at that 12 o'clock area. And there's only one word that it boils down to, and the word is PAIN, pain. And I get people talking about their don't wants. Where's your pain? Where are you stuck? Where are you ruminating on negative stuff? What's holding you back? What's one thing you want to do and you haven't done it? Well, I want to start my own business. Okay, why haven't you done it? It's too hard. I don't have enough time. I don't know where to start. I don't have the money. So then all the excuses with the pain become your bullseyes to target for your limiting beliefs. And that's where I go.
And I love it. That's a great illustration. Thank you. And obviously the beliefs become obvious. The excuses are the beliefs.
Yeah.
Which is another way to put it. So we're still going through a pandemic. The last 2 years have been pretty rough for probably everybody on the planet. They've said that we're all in different boats, but we're all in the same storm. And so people have had a certain rockiness, and some of them are still feeling dark. What's your suggestion if they're feeling like this is never going to end? It feels hopeless. I don't know what I'm going to do. I haven't been able to find my happiness. I haven't found my light. I don't know where my inner compass is. They feel disconnected. Do you have a tip or two that could help them?
Yeah, it's really a weird situation for me. This since the end of 2019, the world went into a lot of darkness, or so people projected. For me, my life has never been better. It's so weird to listen to criers and complainers that I'm trying to love and help, and I'm trying to like empathize with them, and I'm like, no, I really can't jump in the rowboat with you and cry and complain, because I left the state of Utah as a corrections officer, and just I picked 5 companies to go apply for jobs. Chief Today was one of them, which is how I got in contact with you. I got hired at all 5 jobs at the same time, and now I had to decide who I was going to turn down. So that was a blessing, right? And what I realized is that it's just like Earl Nightingale says, the universe is a tilled field. Your subconscious mind is the mechanism that sows the seed. And then everything else that's the onion layers of you and I are the actual farmer planting the seed that goes into that. So the universe is going to return back to you at your harvest time, whatever the seed is you plant. You can plant corns and beans and squash and cabbage and celery, or you can plant nightshade and other poisons. You're going to get it, whatever it is. It's going to come back to you. And so when I talk to people, I say it's really easy. When you think a thought, you've literally created something in your sphere or your quadrant of the universe. Just when you think a thought, you've created it, and it's starting to come to you. And your laser focus or lack thereof depends on how fast it manifests for you. So one of the things that I teach is, it's like when you think something, it's like fishing. You cast a fishing lure out into the lake, right? And whatever you speak, you reel it into you. So your thoughts cast out, your speech reels it in. So you got to mean what you say. You got to say what you mean, because if you're not intentional, then you're going to reel a boot or a drink cup or a beer can or a diaper off the lake. But if you're intentional, you're getting the big fish that you want, right? And so there's an artistry to fishing, with casting out and reeling in, using the universe, law of attraction, all these kind of things. And going back to Nevilleizing, the one thing that I learned, because I was listening, I didn't read The Secret. I listened to it on audio while we were camping up here in the mountains of Utah. And one thing that I learned from that was when you visualize with power and emotion and feeling and act as though it's happening right now, that's a great way to laser focus and get things coming to you. But man, when you start telling everyone and their mother's dog about what your plans are and what you're doing, that immediately gets the manifestation just happening, is when you speak it into existence. Now, a lot of people don't want to do that. What if they think my idea is stupid? What if they tell me I'll fail? What if they tell me that's been done before? Well, you just got to be more mentally tough than they are. You got to be more emotionally resilient than they are.
Oh, Jed, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. And I'm always delighted to hear your kind of farmer's wisdom, the homespun way of relating the law of attraction to going fishing.
Yeah, that's right.
And I also love, because I'm pointing things out for people that are watching to make sure they really hear it, that as soon as you think something, the creation has begun. Because as soon as you think anything, you're feeling it in your body. If they are looking out and seeing the darkness and muckiness and buying into the rowboats, as you pointed out there, right then and there, before they spoke anything, before they've done anything, just the thought alone is making them feel bad.
Yeah.
And that is the beginning of the creation process. If they allow the thought to grow, if they do speak it, now they are beginning to manifest it. So what I'm hearing from you is a reminder that you have a choice. You have a choice. I chuckled inside when I heard you say that you weren't buying in when people were telling you about the doom and gloom out there, and you're kind of chuckling like, this is the best time of my life. I'm having a great time. Everything is fine. And I know, I hope it's okay to say this, but I know you had COVID. I know that you
Mhm.
were sick, and you handled it in a natural way, and you kind of bucked up and went through it, and probably ate something out of your garden to help you get through it.
It was a blessing. Yeah, it was a blessing to get it. It was a blessing to get COVID.
How was it a blessing? Tell me that. How was it a blessing?
So everyone was wrapped in fear of, because we had people going on ventilators, and our community dodged it for a year and a half, like all through 2020, dodged it, all through the beginning of 21. And then all of a sudden, everybody out of nowhere, we thought COVID was dying down. All of a sudden, like 15 or 18 of us in the office got it. And I had kidney stones with it. So I had a double whammy. I had kidney stones with it. And you're supposed to quarantine for 14 days. I was laid up for 14 days. The good news is I got skinny. I got rid of some belly fat because I couldn't eat or drink, which wasn't good for the kidneys. So I was trying to suck down anything I could. But I could tell you tons of bad stories with it. For one of them was my best friend. He ended up doing a vaccine shot, and it was shortly after that, even the vaccine that he got, he ended up having a heart attack, and he passed away while I was sick and doing my stuff and everything. So I was going through all sorts of emotions with family and friends and loss and everything else. But I just kept telling myself that my body is going to code against the virus just like it always has. I had swine flu twice. I had walking pneumonia that almost killed me. My body always coded against that stuff with my immune system. And I just did meditations. I did affirmations. I did the Joe Dispenza stuff where you talk to your body. And I just kept pumping that in. And then I was hobbling around the mall with my wife, and she got it too. Our whole family got it. And we were recovering, and she wanted a massage. And there was this little Chinese guy at the mall that does these $1 a minute massages. And he was working on her, and I went to walk around the mall and come back. And plus I was 6 months into a hip replacement too. I had a hip replacement last year. So I had all these double whammies. So this little Chinese guy pulls me in, and he was 70 years old. He was a police officer in Beijing, and he gives me a natural homeopathic regimen to do. Gives me this oolong tea. Anyways, I follow this guy's regimen. I use your stuff, all these other thought leader stuff. I keep telling myself that this is going to be a blessing. I'm going to get better for it. Joe, I'm going to be 47 this year. Right now I feel like when I was 29 doing construction, putting in pools and stuff.
Wow.
And I don't know how else to say other than, of course, I was blessed from God above, but then also I'm taking those steps to build myself and remake myself into the man that I want to be. So if I was to tell you my life story, I have a choice. I can make it look like a Jason and Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street story, or I can be Batman or Superman with the cape flowing story. And so why not tell the story that's going to serve you best, right?
I love it. And again, it's a reminder of choice. There's a phrase out there where people say, it is what it is. And I heard it for the longest time, and it really irritated me because I realized it's a statement of victimhood. And that's when I created it. And my t-shirt says it. I don't know if people can see it. It is what you accept. It is what you accept. And it's a reminder that we may be in situations where we can't really do a whole lot about the situation we're in, but we still have our brain. We still have our mind. We still have our choice. We still have perception. And it is what you accept. And when we come back to that as a new touchstone, as a new jumping off point, then we can look at things like what you went through and then decide, much like you just pointed out, is it a victim story or is it a victor story?
Right.
Is it a story of darkness or is it a story of light? You get to choose.
Right.
Now, we're going to be running out of time here, and there's so many things I want to ask you, and there's so many things I would like to hear from you. I mentioned Bob Proctor earlier, and Bob Proctor was in the movie The Secret. He's like the elderly grandfather there, the wise elder who is teaching us all about the law of attraction. And he deeply influenced me personally and lots of other people. And as you know, Dr. Hulen, the man who taught me Ho'oponopono, has also passed. Bob passed within a week or so, and Dr. Hulen was a month or so. How do we honor them? You've been influenced by both. How do we honor them and their legacy?
You know what? Here's another redneckism, Farmer Jed story for you.
I love these. Right.
I would help my grandpa, and he would irrigate and clear the ditches. Out here in Utah, we don't get a lot of rain, so we rely on the snow melt from the mountains. And my cousins would all be lazy, and they'd go in the house and play and watch MASH reruns or something, and I'd stick with my grandpa. And so he took that opportunity, because I had good work ethic even as a kid, to teach me some stuff. And two things that he taught was, he goes, Jed, if you want to do anything in this life, you first have to have the spark. You got to have the desire. And he said, second thing is you have to work hard, and you got to put effort into making that happen. And then the third thing is you got to be like tenacious, like you can't slow down. He says, but you'll never even manifest anything unless you fight like you're the third monkey trying to get on Noah's Ark. So you got to fight for it. His other thing he taught me was a man dies twice in this life. He dies the first time when his body goes into the ground and everyone loves him at the funeral. He dies the second time in this life when his name is spoken for the last time on another human being's lips. And so the way we honor Bob and Dr. Hulen is we take their gold nuggets and we continue to speak their name and teach their principles and pass them on and write books like you do and incorporate them into people that are hurting and they just need a friend or someone to love. And that's how you lift them up.
That's so beautiful. A couple of random questions for you. One is, I know you were excited to get on this call and I was excited to talk to you. Is there a question you wish I had asked or you wish somebody would ask you? Whether it's about you, what you do, Miracles Coaching, your background, 28 years experience with youth, drug and alcohol abuse, anything in those areas?
Yeah. I always wish people would ask me, what's the purpose of life? What's the meaning of life?
Hey, Jed, what's the meaning of life?
You ready for it?
Tell me.
One of my favorite scriptures is Adam fell that men might be, men are that they might have joy. So in a nutshell, everything we do down here is geared around being happy and having joy. It's just that we don't know how to go about the right way to do that, wickedness never was happiness. And so you don't follow the equation or the recipe or the things the right way, you don't get that happiness like you want. But the other thing is people, they spend their life trying to find themselves or to find their joy or to find their purpose. And you'll go into the grave trying to do that. What you're supposed to do is make yourself into the man or woman that you want to be right now. You're supposed to create your joy right here, right now. You're supposed to create your purpose and say who you are right here, right now. Then you'll go and do those things that naturally go with that, see? And then you can have immediately everything you want and dream and desire using these principles with the law of attraction, the universe right here, right now. So the purpose of life is to be happy and create yourself into the king or the queen that you were already born to be and go experience it.
This is absolutely fantastic. This is so good. And now I finally know the meaning of life. So,
there you go.
I'm complete. I know that if people want to get a hold of you, they can go to miraclescoaching.com. If anybody's watching is interested in coaching, go to miraclescoaching.com. If they want to reach you in particular, is there another place to go or do they go through that website or Where would you
Yeah,
say?
miraclescoaching.com is great. And just get in touch. And if they search my name, they'll find it. And then I'm at your service. You're my mentor. You're my hero. I've got 5 of my own coaches that I network with and train with, and you're my top guy there in my list. But I want to be people's just friend, but mentor, coach, whatever I can to help them get out of pain and get unstuck and start living the life they deserve to have. That's what I want to do for anyone listening to my voice. I'm here for you.
I am so grateful for you. I don't want to let you go. Can I get one more story or one more farmer quote or one more insight? Give me one more as we get ready to end this particular show.
Yeah. So one of my favorite stories was it's my cactus story. So when I was a kid, my mom had it was like a junkyard garden. It had like an old plow, an old farmer's wheelbarrow, and casks and all this kind of stuff. And me and my stepdad, we fought. My dad was kind of mean and I was a softie, So, but I'd go out to the West Desert here and ride horses with him just to kind of spend time with him. And I thought, well, I'm going to bring back some junk for my mom because I love my mom. I'm a mama's boy. And so we're riding horses, and I forgot our bridle, and I forgot a saddle blanket. So I was already in trouble by the time we got rolling. And it was just a negative experience. And I'm riding all over the West Desert between Utah and Nevada. I can't find any cool junk to bring home. And I find this little barrel cactus. And I'm like, well, I'm going to bring my mom this barrel cactus. And I got a flat rock and lifted it up, and I gently put it up on my saddle. And then luckily I had a kid horse, so he held still. I got up in the saddle, and then I'm riding the horse back to camp. And I was pretty good to keep this prickly barrel cactus out of my arms and gut. And I've got it in the back of the truck. The horse is all put away. My dad and his friends show up. We're getting ready to go home. And he said, what the bleep bleep is that? It's a cactus. And so I'm transporting this cactus home. As I fall asleep, I'm sticking my friend's dad. I'm rolling over and sticking him while he's driving. They made me ride in the back of the truck because of this cactus. So I get home, I show my mom, here's this cactus. And she's like, oh, just throw it down over there. She didn't even want it. So I was like, stupid cactus. And I throw this cactus. Well, I'm in trouble. I got to clean the yards. There's like dog poop on the cactus. There's tinsel from the Christmas tree from the cactus. And my dad's about a year or two later, he goes, throw that cactus in the garbage. And so I was angry. And another time I was angry, and I'm going to scoop the cactus up with the shovel, and it won't move. And the cactus had grown roots down inside the ground. And I was like, holy cow, this thing wants to live. I took it from its home with its friends, the pinions and the juniper trees, made it live by our garbage cans. And so I take the tinsel and the garbage off, and I take the dog poop off it. And underneath the dog poop was a little yellow rose growing out of the top of it. Wow. So I took and I made all of the area around it like a new garden for my mom. And they came home and had new wood chips that I'd stole from the neighbors and all of this stuff. And I think of the cactus. Every single one of us, when we think that we're on death's door, we've been robbed or stolen away, we're all these little cactuses wanting to live.
I feel that story. We all want to live and thrive and be appreciated and express our gratitude. Jed, I can't thank you enough. You are amazing. Thank you for making time today. Thank you for being one of my Miracles coaches. Love you, brother. I totally love you.
I love you. Love everyone that's joined us.
Everybody, you can go to miraclescoaching.com to learn more about the coaching program or to reach Jed, miraclescoaching.com. Wow, another episode. This is Dr. Joe Vitale. This has been Zero Limits Living. Every week, I bring you inspiration and information to help you live a life that is exciting, that is inspiring, that is at zero limits. You can watch this show on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, download the Luxe TV app and watch it anywhere, anytime, or just go to YouTube, and I have a website up that you can watch all these episodes on YouTube. Go to zerolimitslivingtv.com, zerolimitslivingtv.com. I thank Candace Barr, Luxe Media, Chris, who's running the cameras in the studio today. I love you all. Thanks for watching, and expect miracles. Thanks.
Glutathione is a big word. It's the body's own master antioxidant. It's a scavenger for free radical, bacteria, and viruses. There are no products in the market with the ingredient NASET. NASET increases the production of glutathione that's in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system, elevate sense of well-being, support muscle strength and endurance, cognitive function, and liver support. It helps with increased energy and blood sugar regulation. Get your bottle of GSH Plus from www.salvationnutra.com.